Hi everyone, Alison here, Director of ICE, Institute of Culinary Excellence. Back in the MasterChef kitchen today. No guests in the house today, it's just me. Sorry about that. But I am going to show you one of my favourite dishes, all-time favourite, risotto. Now I made this when I was working at 15 Melbourne, which was Jamie Oliver's project, and Gennaro, his godfather, was in Melbourne. He showed me how to make a risotto with Prosecco and strawberries. Who would have thought, right? Today I'm going to make one with chicken, bacon and mushroom. I'm going to finish it with a little rocket salad just to increase the nutrients and stuff there. But mostly I'm going to show you how to stew rice on a stovetop to make a fabulous risotto. So I'm not going to go too quickly, which I tend to do because I get really excited about food. I'm going to show you this amazing risotto. It's chicken, bacon and mushroom with a little bit of spinach, and it's going to be served with a dressed rocket salad. Now, when you're studying, it's really important that you get great, nutritious food inside of you so that you can get a little bit more energy, a little bit more focus. It helps with the physical aspects and the mental aspects, and also it's delicious. So I made this risotto the first time ever when I worked for Jamie Oliver in 15 in Melbourne, one of those project restaurants. And his godfather, Gennaro, came over from England to Melbourne, showed me how to make a risotto. He didn't just come for me. He came over for lots of things, but he showed me how to make a champagne and strawberry risotto. Who would have thought? It was absolutely delicious. So the first part of this recipe requires a pan, not normally a frying pan. I tend to use like between a saucepan and a frying pan. In a French classic cuisine, we call it a sauteuse, so like a half pan. This is a really good non-stick pan. It is kind of like a frying pan with deeper sides. And the reason I'm going to use this is so that I can show you the risotto while it's cooking. Otherwise, it's really hard to look down into the pan. So yeah, some chefs use a saucepan, but today we're going to use non-stick. Let's get started. The pan, I've got an induction cooktop. So keep your pan down nice and low, and you're going to add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of the pan, okay? So a good generous amount of olive oil. So heat the oil up first. We're going to put a little bit of butter in that. And I say a little bit, it's actually quite a lot, but we won't talk about the fat content. Don't look at that because it's delicious. The reason for the oil first is so that the butter doesn't burn. You need the butter for the flavour and colour, but if you put the butter straight into a hot pan, it's going to really burn. All right, so I'm going to pop this up a little bit higher now. Can I just say you need to be in control of the pan. Don't let the pan be in control of you. In other words, always be able to turn the pan down slightly. Don't be frightened of taking the pan off if it's too quick. Don't just turn it down and expect it to happen because you're going to burn this. All right, so gentle, gentle. Okay, in this pan, once the butter has melted and it's not burning, it's not coloured, it's nice and golden, we're going to add some finely chopped onions. Now, that is going into our pan and we're gently going to cook the onion. Now, we call this sweating. You don't want colour in this risotto, guys, because the risotto is a white kind of like stew. So imagine if you burn the onions. It's going to look terrible, isn't it? Not only will it taste bitter, it's going to look bad in this stew. So you're going to keep this nice and gentle, drop the temperature and as I said, don't let the pan control you. You're in charge, right? You're the chef. Chef means chief. So when you're making this risotto, you are in charge in the kitchen, all right? So we're going to cook this out a little bit until it's just starting to be translucent. So nice gentle heat, not too much happening, and you can see I'm keeping that onion nice and golden brown and not too coloured. All right, next step, follow along with your recipes. I'm going to use bacon, and I'm also going to use some chicken thigh. You can use chicken breast, but it's more expensive, and also the breast can get quite dry, so thigh is really good. So you're going to get skinless, boneless chicken thigh, and you're going to chop it into nice pieces, around about 1 to 2 centimetre pieces, like so. All right, that's going to go in with our onions, which are now really nice and soft and a little bit see-through. They look great and they smell beautiful. It's buttery, it's delicious. All right, that chicken's going to go in, okay? And I might increase the temperature now because I've got a protein in there, so it's going to take away some of that heat. So chicken, give it a little head start. You can see just a nice little colour there. Now, what we're looking at here is for the chicken to be white all the way around. In other words, it's sealed, it's set its shape, and it's no longer raw. But it's not cooked inside, just remember. Give this a little bit of extra flavour. Now you can, if you can afford it, get some pancetta or some prosciutto or some streaky bacon or some speck, whatever you want to put in there for extra flavour, go for your life. Bacon, beautiful. Now if you don't eat bacon or you're trying to avoid pork, just keep this one with chicken, okay? It's not necessary. You could probably get that smokiness out of a bit of smoked paprika in there instead. So we're going to get that just going nicely. So far then, you've got that pan. And hopefully if you're cooking along with me, you should by now have onions, chicken and bacon in this pan. Okay, it's gentle. You can see the chicken now is slightly firm, which means it's been sealed, it's not cooked all the way through. Just going to drop down that little temperature a little bit. Again, you can hear the pan's a little quick and you can hear it, you can see it, so drop the temperature. All right, just while I'm allowing that to cook out, take my spoon out of there a little bit. All right, I'm going to crush garlic with your hand, smash and peel. What we'll do is just clear the rest of that little peel away there, and we're just going to chop the garlic. So that garlic now is going in with the chicken and the bacon and the onions, and we're also going to add some chili flakes now. Now, I'm not making this like an Asian risotto. The chili is used in northern Italian dishes to add a little bit of kick, a little bit of bite, just to intensify the flavours of everything else. So now we've got our chicken, our bacon and our onions, garlic. It's really starting to smell delicious. So we're going to add some mushrooms. So this is a chicken, bacon and mushroom risotto. I've got some little baby button mushrooms here. All right, so we're going to pop those into here now. Going in. All right. So getting back to this, in the pan now we've got lovely mushrooms, garlic, onions, chicken and bacon. Now let's talk about the rice that you're going to use. This rice is known as arborio rice. So this is the packet that you see in the supermarkets, that's important. The blue bag, it's called arborio. It is a round, flat, polished Italian rice. So arborio is readily available in the supermarkets here. It is the best rice to use for this, I'm telling you, really good. We are going to use the arborio today, and I've got a cup of rice here. I'm going to use 1 cup of rice and 3 cups of liquid. That's going to go in here. And now, it sounds stupid, but we're actually going to sweat the rice. So drop the temperature of the pan because you don't want to burn this. And again, let's check our pans, make sure they're not burning. You do not want this to be burnt, so I do suggest a non-stick pan for you. And notice I'm using my wooden spoon at this point. I am only going to use this wooden spoon until I add the liquid, and then I'm kind of going to show you the way I was taught to make it, which is to flop the pan and move it and not keep stirring it, because in Italy they believe that the more you stir the rice, the more you're likely to smash the rice, and they want the rice to be whole and cooked beautifully and treated with a bit of care. Don't be frightened to move the pan around a little bit. And what you're looking for here, and the best way to describe this is that the rice becomes a little bit, again, transparent. And basically each rice grain has a little white dot in the centre of it, and the rice grain on the outside almost looks like it's dissolving away a little bit. That means you've got that outer, hard, starchy exterior to kind of open up and absorb some of the flavours. What you don't want is the rice to burn at this point, all right? If you could smell this, I'm telling you, you would love it, because the smell is just outrageous. Looking at that rice, I'm sure if you could see that close up, it's got an outside edge that looks like see-through. It's got a little white dot in the centre of each of those grains. And that means that it's ready for you to add some liquid to it. It's crying out for it. Now, the liquid that I'm going to add to this is going to be chicken stock and white wine. And the first time I made this with Gennaro, he used a Prosecco, like an Italian champagne, and he put the champagne in, it frothed up, it was beautiful. You don't need to spend money like that. You can just get a reasonable white wine. If you've got a bottle, I've got a little bit of, this is local wine, Ballender, or local. This is from Stanthorpe, so it's Queensland wine. I'm going to pop a little bit in my pan, which is going to taste delicious. So remember, 1 cup of rice to 3 cups of liquid, and in that 3 cups of liquid, some of that's wine. So measure it, all right? The next step for this is really important, is to reduce the wine away. And this will also show you that the pan is, at the moment, almost dry. Almost. I know it's time to add my stock. All right, so I have chicken stock. Okay, your chicken stock or your veggie stock, if you're making a vegetarian option, needs to be hot. So when you add this to this, it's the same temperature. Kind of almost boil it first and then leave it. Have it in a jug. It's really easy to pour that in to your risotto. Now, the best risottos are made with time and care. If you pour it all in together, kind of like misses the point. It's like a risotto needs to be cared for. So you're going to add a little bit at a time, and then you're going to start to move around the rice and allow it just to gently absorb that first amount of stock. We're going to add the next bit, and again, the rice is this time in charge. I know we said the pan was in charge, but the rice is going to tell us what it needs. A little bit at a time. And again, don't go mad, because adding stock slowly to risotto enables the rice to be shiny, glossy, and it kind of starts to encourage the starch to come out a little bit. And that naturally then creates this beautiful, creamy, stew-like consistency. If you don't want to crunch through raw rice like I just did, not particularly nice, taste the liquid. The liquid's a really good indicator of what's happening in the pan. You can probably see that I'm not using my spoon here. So, next lot of stock going in. We've added our flavour. You guys can add your next lot of stock. Okay. Now, how do you know when this is ready? You can't answer me. I've just realised that. So, how are you getting on? I'm hoping that your risotto's kind of like starting to look a little bit like mine. And Mac popped over and took a photograph so that we can show you what the image should look like, because I'm aware that you might not be able to see in the pan. It should be almost ready like mine, and they say between 12 and 15 minutes to cook a really good risotto. That's not the whole cooking, that's just when you're adding the liquid and the rice. I've added the last little bit of stock there. Now, how do you know when the rice is ready? Well, taste it, probably the best thing. If it's crunchy, it's not done. What you need though is a little bit of al dente. We want it to have a little bit of life, you know. Remember what I said about seasoning? A little bit of pepper going in here. Al dente means a little bit of bite, a little bit of effort. Gorgeous. So lovely. Oh. Sorry, meanwhile, just dreaming about how lovely that is. I don't want it crunchy, you don't want it chalky, all right? But you want to make sure you've got a little bit of extra liquid in here, and I'll show you why. Because we're going to pop our spinach in away from the heat, and we want a little bit of extra liquid there because we're going to add cheese, Parmesan cheese, a little tiny extra knob of butter, just to add a few more calories to this. And that cheese and butter and that extra stock is going to make that lovely sauce liquid. We call it liaise, in other words, blend together, and it's going to hang there and it's going to be like this amazing sauce. So turn off the heat. We're going to finish this off. All right, so we've got some baby spinach, a couple of handfuls, or just put one handful in, one and a bit handfuls in. And what we're going to do is we're going to just use a spoon just to make sure that wilts down in the temperature of the rice only. And at the same time, we're going to add a little bit of cheese. Now you can grate fresh Parmesan in here if you wish. Pecorino or a Parmesan or a Reggiano, any of those lovely hard aged Italian cheeses. Pop that in here. It's away from the heat now. You're just going to stir it through, and I'm going to add a knob of butter. Don't tell Matt because he's not here at the moment, but it's quite fattening. Put a little bit of knob of butter in there, and that will give me this beautiful, shiny, glossy risotto. And if you do feel like you need to pop a little bit in of liquid, that's important too. But what you're looking for is this beautiful stew-like, a little bit sloppy. I don't want it solid. If you can stand a spoon up in it, we're doing something wrong here. So I don't want you to be able to do that. I don't want it just all liquid and a bit of rice floating. I want it to be like this amazing, juicy, creamy rice that's going to go basically with a lovely little rocket salad on the side, which is going to, again, add to the colour, the texture, the interest, the nutrients, the freshness, all those things. This plate is going to be all 5 food groups in one go. Watch, it's going to be great. My rocket is here. Going to have a handful of beautiful, springy, gorgeous rocket leaves. Look at those, I love them. I hate them when you get them and they're all like floppy and dead. It's like, oh, really? So let's just do one final taste. Oh, amazing. Right. Now, in your recipe, I say to serve this with a rocket side salad. And cut a little bit of lemon. Now, don't go cutting the lemon in half. We do this slightly differently. We cut cheek to cheek. There's a song, Dance Together Cheek to Cheek. Think about that when you're cutting the lemon. All right, and then cut that centre piece in half. The reason being is you get this whole cheek of lemon without pips, without the centre section, and you can hold your hand over it and squeeze so much juice. Look at that, all over that rocket. Now don't do that until the end. All right, so you got this finished. Do this last. If you want to hold back on this one because your mates are not here or you're not quite ready, don't do all the finishing thing. Don't do all the cheese and the spinach and the butter. Do that at the end. Bring it back to temperature. Put a little bit more stock in, and then you finish it just before you're going to eat it, okay? That's important. So a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in here. So really good quality olive oil. So we're going to have this beautiful earthy truffle oil with our risottos tonight. But what you can do, and which I will show you, is you use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on the top of your risotto. Alrighty, so we're going to serve this risotto. So this lovely risotto now is ready to serve. Okay, I've got this beautiful red plate. So use a plate underneath. This is a really good trick. This is free. Use this as your drip plate. And it's always going to drip on the way back to the pan. Believe me, it's Murphy's Law. Again, you're going to leave this here, again, back here, and you're going to serve this up on the plate, just like I have. So now, what you should be able to do with that risotto is shake the plate, and that risotto should move across the plate. Again, I was taught just to bang down the plate and make sure it's just all beautiful and flowy. Shaved parmesan's going on top. So if you've got that on your plate now, it should be looking pretty nice. A little bit of truffle oil. It's going to be gorgeous. All right, if I can get the thing open, it would be gorgeous. Put your finger over the top so that you are only allowing a few drips, and that is super strong in flavour, so we don't want to put too much on. If you are using just normal virgin oil, often they come with a little pourer, like a drizzler, and you can do that yourself. A little bit on the top. Olive oil is nature's gift to us. It was supposed to be eaten raw and not really cooked with. All right, next up, last but not least, you're going to put a little bit of dressed rocket on the top. And basically that's going to add a little bit of life, a bit of freshness, a little bit of colour. So we've got this beautiful chicken, bacon and mushroom risotto. We've got a lovely rocket salad just sitting on the top of it. So that is our risotto. So to the ice apprentices that have been watching this masterclass with me, this is risotto. It is a method of cookery using stewing, which means to be cooked gently with liquid on the stove. So it's a method of cookery. And it is also using an arborio round rice. Ratio of 1 part rice to 3 parts liquid, and that is our stewed rice. It comes under farinaceous, and that's part of that subject. We'll be taking you through a pilaf rice and a steamed rice, and there's so many things you can do with rice. Every country has a national rice dish. Even the UK, we have a sweet rice pudding. Spanish have paella, they have risotto in Italy, in France they have pilaf, in India have pilau rice, they have nasi goreng in Indonesia. I could go on and on about it, I won't. Indians have also the biryani, which I love too. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time in the ice kitchen. Thanks.